provided 3D of chapter 231 of the Public Law of 1975, commonly known as Sunshine Law. Roll call.
Paul Muir. Jose Reyes.
Here.
Judy Nelson. Here. Ken Shalay.
Here.
Grace Ann Kelly.
Unmute yourself, Grace.
She might not be.
Yes, I think that's the issue.
That's a cursor.
Okay. Yeah, if he has to unmute herself, we can't do
Go. All right, do you hear me now?
You say yes, or
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Okay, here. Oh my God. I was just talking to Lou. Lord have mercy.
that's Grace.
Philip Bellin. Ryan Messinger.
it. Here.
Jose Maderos.
Here.
Brad Nelson.
Here.
Jeff Collette.
Here.
Steve DiLorenzo.
Hold on.
Danny McDonald.
Here.
Scott Wilhelm.
Present.
Thank you, the rest of the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it
Just one nation, under God, indivisible with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, it's bringing back Zoom days.
At that time, delay going on.
Yeah, remember we were all, we had like 6 or 7 different people speaking all at the same time, a second apart. Yeah. All right, open to the public for comment on the agenda.
So.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Nothing, Joe? No. Nobody else is on, motion opposed,
So moved.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Out to the subcommittee and out to Decker is you 1.501 MSP application and determination of completeness. Email out to the subcommittee. This has been a discussion point now for a couple of years. And the letter is attached from Mr. Decker. They had asked for a bunch of waivers. He made comments on each one of the waivers. And on the 5th page, he says, due to the plan deficiencies noted above, I recommend that the application be deemed incomplete at this time. Until the applicant addresses all those concerns.
Make a motion to deem this application incomplete.
I will second that.
Made a second, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Abstentions?
So I looked on the NJDEP website, and they did get a letter of interpretation on this property.
Okay.
Which Tom was talking about, so they should have it, and they should include that, so that we know what the DEP opines on the wetlands there.
You're saying that DEP did receive the plan? And did they?
No, they issued a letter of
Oh, so
interpretation,
they did actually issue it.
according to their website. Yeah, it was an FWL 14 verification over an acre LOI. And it says document status issued. And the PI number is 1002-23-0001-.1.
That's included in Tom's letter.
Yeah, he included in his letter. Did it say?
It's got the number. You could-
Yeah, it's got all the number, but it doesn't say. Oh, yeah, it says that it was previously issued.
That's the movement on that. That piece of property. You both up in the public,
The move,
Second.
there,
aye,
question, mine, Charlie,
Which property are you talking about? What lot and block?
name,
Charlie Matarazzo, 102 Blossom Road.
it is the 173 property next to the,
34,
it's the-
34, 33?
It's the paper, the block paper company.
They're down there now, loading tractor trailer. They use that highway so much.
Oh, now there's something in front of us, but I want to hear testimony.
Okay, good, good. Can we give them a time frame? Not just him, there's a number of ones in 173. They keep saying they're coming in, they're coming in. Mr. Fleming started 2.5 years ago, 24 block, lot 1. Said they gotta be coming in, they're coming in. I told them they have to come in. Mr. Fleming's gone, that's 2 years. Now Sarah's here, and Sarah wrote him, says they got until June 1st to come in with something. If not, then I'll give them another 90 days. Can't we give them people a time frame and say after, what X amount of days, say 6 months, that you get penalized or you get shut down and stop work order or something to make them turn their head and come in to us?
I think there's multiple responses to that. Number one, the board cannot set a timeline for any applicant to submit an application. An application was submitted and it's been deemed incomplete. The applicant will be notified it's incomplete. The applicant can withdraw, amend, choose to do what they want. The only issue would be is if there's a court order, if the Superior Court had ordered something, or if there was a violation filed, in this case in municipal court, whether
There was a stop work order put on that job.
a stop work order
What was on that job?
by the zoning officer.
Our mayor called me personally and told me that they put a stop work order, that he put a stop work order and Mr. Decker was going down. And that's been 2 years ago.
If the zoning officer believes there's a violation of the stop work order, then the zoning officer should issue a citation, which would then go to the municipal court. And then there, the applicant and prosecutor can, try to resolve it with the municipal court. And often, as you know, the municipal court, at the request of both sides, will give a timeline for the parties, or for the applicant to address the violation.
Mhm.
So not necessarily, not the application, but the violation. So
All right, while we're on that subject, what's the regulations on moving in and taking possession of the property and not getting approvals from the town?
well, that's another zoning enforcement issue. I mean, I think he can possess his property. It's the question of what he's doing on the property. And if the zoning officer believes it's a violation of any of the zoning ordinances, then the zoning officer should file a violation in the municipal court.
Okay, my understanding is if you came in, bought a piece of property in town, you moved in, you had to come in with a site plan just for cosmetic stuff, if you wanted to dress the place up, change things around, show off street parking, what clients you have and all that stuff. I thought there was a rule on that, a regulation.
There was already this, there was a building there previous that they purchased, and it's a parking area that was previously there, prior to them taking ownership.
So I think it's best for the board and myself to only answer you in hypotheticals in general. And I don't think it's appropriate for the board to comment on a application which is not really pending at the present time, upon which a lot of your facts are assumed.
Okay. That's not the only property, the board knows what property I'm talking about, okay? So what you're telling me, I guess, is, I won't even go there on that one, all right? Any news on, multi-track, what's going on down there? I don't know that lot and block offhand.
Heritage Park.
They were there Friday.
So they did a site visit, I believe the township engineer. That would be when I was premise of the township. as representing you guys. So. and-
Why was that? Every time I ask a question, they always say, oh, it's a zoning officer or this.
Well, it's not the planning board, there's nothing, again, we don't do enforcement.
No, I understand, I
So it's-
understand.
So it's not, it just so happens that our engineer is also the township engineer, so we
Right.
tend to at least have, sometimes when it happens, but Tom went out Friday with
Sarah.
Sarah. So, and again, Sarah works under the auspice of Tom, but she also works under township committee.
So-
Sarah doesn't work under us at all.
Okay, so Sarah gets a complaint, she can just bring Tom with her, and then you're telling me?
Potentially.
It's up to the town, if she contacts, the professionals through her means as far as the town goes.
Mhm.
We don't authorize that, we don't pay, no, that's not part of what we're covering.
Right.
So,
That's why I was wondering who's paying him, well, that's why I was wondering.
the town. Ultimately, the town does, until there's an application, but, Tom is our sitting township engineer, so
Right.
however that contract is written. But if Sarah has a question, and she goes to Tom, that's through the purview of the township committee.
All right.
So
There's,
once there's an application in front of us, then Tom is working for us, that's good.
okay.
Yes, Grace, did you sneeze?
No, I coughed.
Did we come up with anything yet on, 34 and 5? I mean, with the tractor trailers parking there, I remember Sarah's, about the zoning again, it is, about commercial,
We haven't heard anything about the parking of the semi trucks on any properties. Again, unfortunately, it doesn't come to us until something needs to be done. So, yeah, we enjoy hearing about all the township stuff that's going on, but we.
It's starting to look bad, that's why I'm asking.
We as citizens of the town are interested, but we as a board, there's nothing that we can do until something's actually in front of us. And at that point, then yes, we all talk about it and can do something. But we don't.
So to answer my first question here, is the time frame like the land, I call it landscape, 34, 33, it's been there, what, 3 years?
So if I can, in my research today on DEP, on various issues, I happened to look into,
I have
We're
that.
not talking about this out of.
no, I'm not talking about, I'm just, the thing that anybody has to worry about as far as violations of DEP laws is that the fines can be from $2,500 a day to $50,000 a day. So if you're violating DEP rules,
Well, that's what I'm asking, when somebody comes in, and I'm not singling anybody out, but anybody on 173 buys a commercial property, moves in and never shows up for a site plan. There should be a time frame they're given and saying, listen,
That's a zoning enforcement issue. You have to raise that at the township committee or directly with the zoning officer. And if you're not satisfied with the zoning officer's response, you go to the township committee.
Okay.
So that's the executive branch. The officers under the executive branch and that's the mayor and the township committee. And they enforce the laws.
okay,
This body only, rules on land development applications, subdivisions and site plans.
okay,
Or denials of a permit, that's really it.
okay, all right. All right, thank you.
Well, interpretation.
Interpretation.
Interpretation, that's important.
That's true.
So,
Sure.
there's also, just so you understand, Charlie, I wanted to explain interpretations, there's a third part of what we do.
Oh, interpretation, yes, in terms of, if people have questions about what the zoning, ordinance states. And in fact, I can tell you, I had spoken with Sarah a few months ago and she had questions about what zoning ordinance stated and what it meant and whether she should act. And so we gave her some advice. That's the fourth job of
Okay,
the land use board.
So if somebody doesn't like the decision that our zoning officer makes, you're able to then come in front of us for an interpretation of that result, and we
I
can
did,
change that.
you turned me down.
We didn't turn anyone down.
Yes, you did, you turned me down last time I was here.
There was-
I asked Sarah about raising my roof of my shop, and I said, I don't wanna hear
you need to put it in
Your
an
file,
official.
right.
it. Didn't you tell me that?
You have to put an official there's an application interpretation checklist right on the application.
I asked, and she told me to stop and I asked for one. Okay. Thank you.
Um,
Well, it says Paul.
I got Paul.
Mhm.
Any other comment? Motion to close the public,
So moved.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good morning, Paul Jones, by 7:40.
Anything that?
No, but I can see it pop up.
My glasses, I can't see. I can't read that. This is all good. All right. All right, correspondence, we did get a freshwater letter of interpretation from a very old application from Hanford Quarry. It was for the Quarry Industries LLC, lots 12, lots 5 and 6.
No, it's not here. Not there. I asked you if I could get it, and you said no. You didn't need, I didn't need to distribute that.
No,
Okay.
I'm not saying
Well,
this
you're
is correspondence, I'm telling everybody that we received it, that's what I'm doing. So, I think there's no action to take place, but we did get a copy of that. Just again, saying pretty much what, as they were saying before, it was the letter of interpretations here, so any further development, this has been verified by DEP for all of the areas of water boundaries, freshwater wetlands, their own property.
Now that one does have a tributary to the halfway, right?
Yeah. So it basically says in here that all these boundaries must be included on any further development or changes of uses of that property. So that's it. Mr. Mayor?
We can do minutes.
No, yeah, I'm here. Well, one thing I just want to share, so I invite Mr. Matarazzo back in another time, but we'd have the zoning officer at our last township meeting, specifically for questions, and I know he wasn't there last time, so I think she'll join us at least twice a year, maybe once a quarter. We can try to do that, but that's the more appropriate place for the questions. And we did have the zoning officer there just this past Thursday, so just wanted to share that. And then the only other thing, we've been, talking about the development of a manufacturing and/or warehouse over in the edge of Greenwich. Just an update there. Mayor Papix and I met with Senator Steinhardt, and I've also been in contact with DOT and their other legislatures. And I don't have significant updates from those individuals. They've all been helpful in a variety of different ways, but I think at the very least, this is going to start a conversation that I believe Senator Steinhardt will help us out in leading, to open up more conversation amongst the counties, both Hunter and Warren, and the surrounding municipalities, to have a regional approach. Because as I think we've done a great job here in Bethlehem Township, preventing warehouses and things we don't want, but yet, in surrounding communities, there are warehouses popping up. So, there could be, some long-term positives there, if not an immediate short-term solution. That's all I have.
Thank you. Judy?
And I just want to remind everybody of Heritage Market starting back up, Wednesday, June 4th.
Right, Scott, want to discuss the,
Sure, so let me just start off by saying I don't propose to be an affordable housing, fair share housing expert by any stretch.
no details about that, we just need to know what our role is.
Yes, so the township is aware that they have to adopt the plan by June 30th, or they lose their immunity from builder remedies lawsuits. And I think everyone's aware that the fourth round of this has been, they've given very short deadlines. And so the planner should be working on, a plan
Yep.
and should have a draft soon. It looks like the target date is June 5th. And then that will be sent to this board for a hearing on, June 9th. And, as usual, it's the board, no? Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, my bad, on June 23rd. And, this board's job to, have a hearing and make a recommendation as to whether the plan is consistent with the township's ordinances and the municipal land use law. And then it goes back to the committee for them to make a final decision.
What's our requirement this year?
I don't know.
We don't know.
I don't know.
Judy, do you know?
Why don't they 7-1, but I'm not sure.
Are we gonna go through another duration with this one?
No.
We can.
As far as I know, we're accepting what we're.
Here it is, 51.
51.
Oh, 51.
51, 71, 51, and it was somewhere in that. We weren't contesting it.
Yeah.
So I had trouble hearing it. It's 51 is what was agreed upon, was given to us. And yes, Jose, likely another durational adjustment will be the court settlement.
Good.
So the important thing for the board to remember is that this is going to take place on the 23rd, and everybody should hopefully be in attendance and give this the consideration beforehand that it requires, because there's such a short deadline for everybody.
In front of everybody is a manila folder, with some information as far as the need, settlement and the discussion points. Everyone's to just read it, just get an update of what it is, and then leave it here. It's not to leave the room tonight. Approval of minutes for Monday, April 28th.
So, under public comment, a motion was made by Daniel McDonald and seconded by Daniel McDonald. I think that,
Have a lot of power.
I think I seconded that.
Yeah. Also, under the approval of minutes, it says Wednesday, May 14th minutes were reviewed. Should that be Monday, April 14th? Yeah.
Motion to accept the minutes as amended?
Seconded.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yes, abstentions? One second, anything? Okay.
Oh, so I had my last class. I was praying for a 70. Wasn't encouraged. I got an 88 in my class, so I can now be certified, so we're all done now with me training, so that's. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Well, the only other thing that I would say is that once we get the housing information, because of our long lead time, because of how we're using the Hunterdon review, it actually has to be, I have to send it. I think it's the 5th, I actually have to get it to, like, I have to send it out to them to get it, the legal notification, so that we can actually have the meeting on the 23rd. So that's why it can't be the 9th, because I have to have all that lead time. But at that point, once I put it out that we're having the meeting, once it gets published, there'll be one available here, it'll be put up on the website, and I will make sure that all of you have a copy of it, so that you have enough time to review it and what have you, because, you know,
And Mr. Chairman, I will be out of town on the 23rd, but I will be able to participate in this week.
That subcommittee, and you have a little bit of leeway now with the application being complete, but there's questions or concerns about what you're coming over, just reach out. Good. Well, we can prove you. All in favor? Aye. Yeah.
All right, we are in the stage. I know.
Release.
Have a good night, everybody.
Hey, Grace.
Thank you, Lou. Have a good night.
You too. Good night, everyone.
Thanks. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Grace. Good night, Lou. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.